Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Carly with WESC. For those who are unfamiliar, we host a free webinar usually every month, but now we're doing it on a weekly basis, so every Wednesday. These webinars are recorded and can be viewed at any time at wesc.ca/services/resources. Today, our topic is being resilient through uncertainty and fear, and it is presented by Heather Rodriguez, hypnotherapy trainer and mentor. If you have any questions during the presentation, please just write them in the chat box. I'll let Heather decide if she will want to answer them during the presentation or at the end. Thank you, Heather, for joining us today. Please start whenever you're ready.
Great. Thank you for having me. Excellent. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. As we're going through, if you do have any questions or even just comments, if I'm speaking about something that you can relate to or, gives you a realization, pop that in and I'll be looking at the chat as we're going along today. And it looks like all of the sound issues will be fixed if people can't hear. And okay, great. So welcome. And today I'm going to get into speaking to inner resilience. So this is going to be more about feelings and thoughts and, the guidance of our inner wisdom rather than things to do or facts. So to outline a bit what we're going to go through is I'm going to talk to inner resilience and what that is, but most importantly, how to create that, responding less from triggers and emotions, pivoting from fear to love, and to not be dependent on tools and techniques. And then about, really being guided by the intelligence of your inner wisdom with your next steps forward, whether that's in your life right now or in your business or in what you are wanting to create. This is really, really big because there are so many things happening right now that are out of our control, and the projected future that might have been secure or felt more secure or safe before now doesn't exist in the same way in this complete change of the way that we live and work and relate with each other. And so for those of you that don't know me, I am Hypno Heather, and I have had a hypnotherapy training practice or a hypnotherapy practice since 2011. I was doing hypnosis when people were still using it as a last resort and, really coming in to deal with things that they tried a lot of other things to deal with. Now, over the last, years up until now, I've become a hypnotherapy trainer. I've certified over 60 people in Saskatchewan, from coaches to practitioners to just people wanting to learn and help other people. Anyone wanting to, use these kind of tools to access their deeper subconscious mind or help others do that, has taken this training. And as a result, there's become an industry of hypnotherapy in Saskatchewan. And there's a different understanding now in the world in general about mental health and about the subconscious mind and about the way we really change our habits and behaviors and the way that we think. So this is something that I really had no idea that it would get to this. And now people are coming for hypnosis for everything from, sales to business to fears to phobias to past trauma to issues to habits to behaviors. There's just nothing to relationship help. So now that time has passed, I've really moved into teaching more about the understanding of the mind and coaching people through the process of feeling and thought, so that there's not a dependence on something external. it's nice to have help and support. And I know I wouldn't be here without reaching out and having mentors and having coaches and having therapy. But it's really, really, really helpful, especially at this time when, the emotions and the thoughts are seemingly out of control. So I'm going to start to get into this and talk more about these understandings. If you want, you could always add, maybe type into the chat now if there is any difficult feelings that you've been going through, or if you're feeling afraid, or if you're feeling anxious, or if any of those, any strong feelings have been coming up. And if you want to, you can even add, what about? Okay, perfect. Yeah, just keep throwing them in, because then as I'm using examples, I can use examples that are relevant for you. And then I can really, I want to use our time together not to necessarily teach you facts or details that you need to remember, but to help you right here, right now, develop an ability to tap into your inner resilience and to feel better about these things that you are not feeling good about. So this is great. This is really great. The participation is so helpful because, yeah, this is yeah, this is our life, right? That we are living in right now. Um, so as we get started, I can, use these as examples, and we will definitely work in a way that could assist in sleeping better, for sure. Um, how I would like to start, because this is more of an inner resilience workshop, to begin by just taking a moment to breathe. Let's just stop together. If you're holding something, maybe set it down. If your eyes are open, maybe give them a close and just take a nice deep breath in and out. And let's do 3 of those in a row. Let our minds and our bodies know that we're safe. That even though it might not seem like it, all is well. Our nervous systems and our heartbeats and our thinking, and our triggers and our emotions, that feeling, like it can just really start to get revved up and going. And then it can really cause us to feel like there's all sorts of things that we should be doing, and that so everything is changing, and we need to change, and we need to be able to do this. And and then we start to compare and look at what other people are doing, and then we start to you know be trying to navigate our emotions through our thinking and our actions. And so this is more of the outside in approach. So today we're going to really focus on the inside out approach. So this is going to be about um, you know creating the feeling of safety and the feeling of happiness, or even love, or a contentment, not from an action that you're trying to do, or an affirmation, or something that you're trying to tell yourself. Because I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but there's at times of intense emotion and change. It really doesn't matter how many times we consciously tell our logical mind that we're safe, or everything is okay, or I feel okay, or I am calm, or I am relaxed. Because if that's not happening, like if at the deeper level, the subconscious mind that is really uh, that's really running the show isn't feeling like that at the deeper level from within, it really becomes more difficult. And it's not something, honestly, that we could convince ourselves and we could read as many quotes, helpful quotes as is posted on Instagram, or little health tips of things to do to feel less fear and anxiety. But those are still external models. Those are still teaching us that there is something that we have to do to feel better. And so let's dive into this. And I do have stick around till the end, because I do have something that I created for today that I am really excited to share with you, and that will continue to offer this support in in moving forward, feeling better, and from a really grounded sense within. So getting into the first stuff of talking about, responding less from triggers and emotions, pivoting, and not being dependent again on these tools and techniques or these external um, actions, or this is really common. This is a really common misconception that could be easily demonstrated in habit change. I have a lot of people over the years come to me and ask me to change all sorts of habits you can imagine. And the thing is usually say, there's an external desire. So help me wake up every day at 6 in the morning and stretch, or help me to stop smoking, or help me to stop doing this, or to start doing this. And so there are ways that we can create habits. What do they say? 21 days to make or break a habit, from this external model. But the problem with this is that that habit then continues to require willpower in order to continue as a lifestyle. And willpower is a logical conscious mind concept. So if we're talking about these two parts of the mind, the logical, conscious, analytical, this is the thinking, the planning mind. Then the emotional, spiritual, intuitive, subconscious mind, that's really got all of the information based on your whole life, especially what you acquired during childhood, as the way that life, relationships, money, love works. So what we're really talking about here is just an understanding that willpower is in the logical mind. So anything that we push ourselves to do externally that doesn't complement the internal beliefs and feelings and perspectives of self and life, it's never going to be a full connect. It's always going to feel like a discipline or a struggle, or something that we need to do in order to be okay. So what we're doing today is we're just reversing the model. We're taking a break from the really never-ending to-do list, never-ending kind of way that we could continue to have to tweak and improve and create and find coping mechanisms in order to be okay. And coming into the understanding of the process of emotional well-being, and how thinking and feeling is happening and what's going on in order to have those things change in a way that is more like, oh, I just found myself waking up earlier and stretching, or oh, I'm just not doing that thing anymore. Or my favorite is like, I can't remember the last time I felt like that. So this is where we're putting our attention and our focus on today, because I don't think it's in the narrative enough. I think that even seemingly helpful tips, especially for fear and anxiety and depression and grief and these strong emotions, are also just, adding another thing that we need to do. And so basically, when a strong feeling comes up, an uncomfortable feeling, anxiety, worry. And I get this, you guys, because I don't know where everyone is at in their life or their business, but I know things have changed drastically. I mean, for me, I went from having an in-person hypnotherapy practice that ran itself, I shouldn't say ran itself, but I could feed a little bit, and I've had a full-time practice since 2014. And now that in-person practice does not exist, and that I have moved into online sessions, and I am doing online sessions, but it's not the same. The momentum that I built in the practice isn't the same. And I could go right away into this conversation and say the ways that I have been able to see it differently and pivot and adapt and, build creative stuff that I've been wanting to build. Like, I can get into that, but that's too fast. Because then what I'm doing is I would be discounting the feelings that I feel as a result of everything changing overnight. And so it would be more that I would be trying to convince myself that everything is okay. Now, I'm not speaking about being okay from a greater perspective. I'm saying that you know how it is. When those strong feelings come up, it doesn't feel okay. And at that moment, trying to convince ourselves that it's okay is very unhelpful. And not only is it unhelpful, it's not giving ourselves enough space and time to let our emotions guide us. Because I'm sure you've seen, there's so many options right now, right? There's so many webinars to watch. There's so many classes to do online. You could do yoga online every minute of the day. And then there's so many business tips. And there's so many people that have been doing online businesses that are just bombarding everyone like, okay, here's what you need to do. I can help you. I can help you. This is, oh, if you're not doing this, you need to do this. And like, this creates so much anxiety. Because while any of these could be a potential great solution or assistance to you, if you're choosing it or feeling like you need to choose it based on fear or anxiety, there's going to continue to be resistance, from moving from the old until moving to the new. This is the reason that I haven't really just been just taken the switch to go, okay, now I had this online or offline in person. Now I'm going to move this online just like that, because there is a lot of wisdom and guidance at this time in my inner wisdom. And as I keep tapping into that and letting my emotions process and guide me, it's showing me to slow down. It's showing me that there were parts of what I was doing that was exhausting me, and that I'd already been looking to shift or pivot or focus in new areas of my work. But the fear of the security or the safety was holding me back even before. So it's not that I just logically came to the understanding that the coronavirus is helping me accomplish my dreams and get more connected to my purpose and what brings me joy in my work as a thought. Because we can all get to that. We all know positive thinking, and we can all get to a place like it's all going to work out, or we can tell ourselves that like, it's okay, I've been wanting to change, or now I can focus on other things. But that does not change the fact that there are emotions of fear and worry and just grief, coming up because of being pushed to let go, being pushed, by things out of our control to look at things differently. So I'd like to give us some space today to do that. If we're doing this and a strong feeling comes up in you and you start to just soften and like let yourself breathe. Like for now, let's not try to change these feelings. For now, let's just hang out in them and start to understand what they really mean and what their value is in feeling them. It's especially in our world of positive thinking and quick solutions to changing your mindset. I've been working in the mind for almost a decade, well, more before that, even, professionally that long. But it's not what you think, because again, just coming quickly to the positive and being a positive thinker and being able to see the good isn't a bad thing. This is a good thing to keep practicing, because it can be easy to just fall into being the victim and everything's bad and like poor me. And this is a helpful thing to cultivate. It's just understanding that it's not the answer to feeling better. That's just one aspect of mind. That's just about creating new neural pathways of thinking positive thoughts and listening to positive things, and using affirmations to continue to train your brain in situations and in moments to keep going there. Helpful. It's just that that kind of thinking doesn't change feelings. I don't know. And you can comment if this resonates with you, if you've ever just felt like in the moment when you're experiencing the emotion, there's really nothing that helps it to feel better. And if it is like an external coping mechanism, it just stops it for that moment. It's not like it's resolved. And so what we're looking for is an actual resolution of emotional intensity. Not because you won't ever feel emotions, but because once you start to understand why they're there and what's happening and what they're there to help you with, it becomes a much easier process. Because here's what basically happens. It's like we experience a strong emotion, and then our brain kicks in and thinks, oh, something has to be done. Something has to be fixed. I've got to do something to change this. This happens like so much in relationships, right? Like, say you're with your partner and your partner does something, or it's like a recurring feeling that you have about your partner. And like, as soon as you feel that feeling, you think, oh my God, we got to talk about this. This can't keep going on like this. This has to be changed. But here's the thing. This is a mechanism. This is the way that our survival works, because our minds are protecting us from feeling bad. So then when we feel bad, it starts to, look around. Like, say if this was like a long time ago and we're hungry and we get a bad feeling and we're really hungry, that would cause us to look for food. Or if we, you know, even now got hurt by something in the past, and then what do people, do? They make deal breakers, and they say, I'm never going to be with someone that does this again. And I'm not talking like abuse or trauma. I'm talking about, ways that we've gotten hurt, say through a relationship in the past, that then would cause our minds to protect us every time that we have that similar feeling. Then our mind, because the emotion has not been released and has not been resolved, it builds a little protection. And it's like, oh, no, I can't stand for that, or I can't accept that, or that goes against my beliefs, instead of allowing the space to heal. Because ultimately, every person and situation is giving us the opportunity to grow and the opportunity to let go of those things that have built up over time as a result of the way that we took on a circumstance as hurtful. So maybe we personalized it, maybe we blamed ourselves, maybe we blamed others. But all of these things are just a representation of unprocessed and unresolved past material, basically. And so what happens is the mechanism of our mind just goes, you've got to do something. And then what do? We take another online class, or we bring in tools and we start to make it, oh, I need a better routine. I've got to make more time to do this. And, we start to think that there's a lot of things we have to do to feel better. And then that feels like very heavy, because then it's like becomes like weight on us, right? Because then it's up to me to not ever feel this way again. It's up to me. There's something wrong. Like, well, if I did this differently in the past, this really, really fits into regret, because if I did this differently in the past, then I wouldn't feel like this. See how the mind does these things? Then once it starts to go into that, oh my goodness, like thinking about I am not enough, something's wrong. And then we start to get into the never ending, never resolving way of starting to think about things, like trying to understand why we feel the way we feel, but in the logical sense. you this is a circle. I don't know about you, but I've been in the circle before, where you're just in the circle and you're going from the feeling to thinking about, oh my gosh, if I did this differently, this would be better, and then I wouldn't be feeling like this. If I'd taken care of this in the past, like I knew that I should, I would be feeling better and I wouldn't be in this. If I should have known better, or I knew better, or I know better, why can't I do this now? you know I should be able to do this. These are the things that I just watched people's minds think in that way over all of these years, and my own. And I could really see how ineffective this process of using thinking to try to understand feeling is. But not only that, you guys, which is really why I wanted to come on here today, because I really felt this in connecting with like the female entrepreneurs that I coach, and the people that I'm working with, and just the female entrepreneurs that I know and that are posting. And I could really see how what's happening as a result of this is it's creating a lot of overwhelm and a lot of pressure. And it's creating you know a sense of like powerlessness over what's happening, and over our own futures and our businesses, and the babies, that we put all this time and energy into. And this is really why I felt to come spend some time here, because to move forward in overwhelm and fear and worry creates a lot of pressure about doing enough and being enough. And it makes it seem like your feelings are a representation that something is wrong with you. Okay? So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to actually copy it and put it in the chat right now. Your feelings are not a representation that something is wrong or is wrong with you. So let's just sit in that for a minute. Because here's the thing. There's knowledge, right? There's stuff we read and we know. There's intellectual knowledge of something we read, we know. And then there is embodied knowledge. Then there's knowledge about, like, that we get, that we understand from a deep space. Okay? And this is the difference, because I can tell you, I doing my own work all these years, I would so often be like, well, obviously I know this. Like, I'm a hypnotist. I have a deep understanding of how the subconscious mind works. I teach it to other people. And this is a different type of knowledge. Intellectual knowledge is not a knowing. And so this is why we're just taking this slow today, because I want to help you start to really embody this understanding. Like, what if you just stop for a moment and you were like, wait, if my feelings do not mean that something is wrong with me, then what? Would I make different decisions? Would I feel differently about the tasks that I need to do? Would I create different tasks? Would I even still do the same things as I've done before? And so let's just look at that, and think about feelings as more of part of the experience of life. So if, everybody feels feelings. And it's like, it's funny sometimes because if we have like a really, really good feeling, we don't really question it. We might be like, I don't know why I'm so happy, but we're usually not sitting trying to analyze, like, why am I so happy? What's going on with me? But yet, when we have a negative or like an uncomfortable feeling, we judge it as negative, and then we start to think that something is wrong, and we start to try to understand, why am I feeling this? Because ultimately we're trying to figure out how to fix it. So feel free to ask any questions if there's any questions. I'm going to give you some examples right now about just to help kind of help the mind visualize what I'm saying. Because your feelings are not a representation that something is wrong or wrong with you. Feelings are part of the experience of life. And I'm going to put that in the chat too. Just to have as a reminder, that you can keep coming back to, that your feelings are part of an experience of life. So if we think about, like, a surfer, I like to think of like a warrior surfer, like a businesswoman surfer, and you're riding the waves. And sometimes there's just a small wave and it's kind of easy, you got it, you keep your balance. Then sometimes the wave is large and you're still keeping your balance. And then sometimes the wave might be so big that it just dunks you under the water, you know? And then other times you might be riding the waves totally in balance and then do a little trick. You're just on your game, you're feeling good. And if we kind of think of this as feelings, that you could get dunked, you could be on your game, you could be balanced. But what we have a tendency to do is then start to go, oh my God, I got dunked. I gotta like change the way I'm eating. I gotta exercise more. I have to do this and this and this. And like, whereas all of that might be necessarily true, that for your health, those things could be good to do. It's just that it creates so much resistance to doing those things. And then everybody just wants to eat chips and watch Netflix or, zone out, because it's not really the solution. So there's not motivation, right? So you probably know how it feels one day to just be on top of it all and just, and then the next to feel low and unmotivated and maybe even sad. So this is really part of the ebb and flow of life. It is when you are feeling your feelings and allowing time and space to let the innate wisdom of your body, heart, and mind process what is coming up to you in the moment. I'm going to copy this for you guys too, because I think you might like this. Let's look at that, okay? Because again, we're looking at where real motivation comes from, and we're looking at what our feelings are trying to help us with. And if when we're feeling our feelings, we start to put pressure on ourselves to do something different or to add more tasks to our list in order to be okay, it really creates, so many heavy feelings. So let's say, for example, maybe you're trying to lose weight. And then when you eat something that you feel like that your conscious mind knows, your logical planning mind is like, oh God, I gotta stop eating this. I gotta start being more focused. I've got to eat better. And so then when you eat that thing that your logical mind convinced you or is convinced of, probably through intellectual knowledge, that you shouldn't be eating, then you start feeling bad about how you need to cut that food out and how you need to focus on your weight loss, and you can't believe that you let this go, and that you can't believe that you let it get to this, and like you're not, you know what you should be doing, but you can't do it, and then on and on and on. So we could use this thought process for anything that we wanted to change, right? It's like then we start to think that we know better and we should be doing it. But this is the thing. It's like usually we're trying to do it based on an intellectual knowledge that doesn't come from our internal wisdom at all. And so as a result, again, we're just adding more external things to do in order to lose weight, feel better, work, make more money, do this part of your business that other people are doing and that you know you should. All of these things that really actually just started from a feeling that you had after you ate something. Okay? So then it just adds more resistance because it never really gets done and you never really feel excited or motivated. And it creates a cycle of many bad feelings that seems like the bad feeling from the food is what weight loss will fix. So see what the mind does? The mind has the bad feeling about the food. And then it thinks that you need to lose weight in order to feel better. But like, oh my God, like a bad feeling and like how much work, like this is not an easy solution. This is like, I've worked in weight loss my whole career. It's my specialty. And I know that this is too much. To have to do all of these things and to be focused and motivated and disciplined regularly, consistently to feel better about this, to feel better is daunting. And not only that, it's totally ineffective. How many people have lost weight and then still don't feel better? Or, it's an unhappy feeling doesn't lead to a happy accomplishment. So it's not that losing the weight will help to feel better. It's that feeling better will allow once the feeling is resolved, when the feeling isn't there anymore, and and you receive the understanding from resolving the feeling, then the steps to making food choices or lifestyle choices that are actually in alignment with who you are and how you feel, not what you're told, not what you've read, not what someone else did, will come naturally. That's what I was saying at the beginning, when you would just be like, oh, I can't even remember the last time I felt that way. Or my clients, they'll often say, like, oh, I just found myself adding this in, and I actually just stopped drinking that cup. Like, I didn't even really think about it, and I don't miss it. Because it's in alignment. It wasn't something that the mind kept saying, you've got to do this or you're never going to lose weight. And if you never lose weight, you're never going to feel better. Okay, so let's take this into business. It's the same thing. Oh, until I need to do this with my business. And, say that we're thinking about our business, or we get a bad feeling and then we think, okay, I need to do this and this and this in order to feel better. And then once I get there, I'll feel okay. It's the same thing. It's like the actions never take you there. It might be temporarily, like a band-aid, could be like a band-aid where you're just like, okay, yeah, I got this thing done and this feels really good for sure. But it's not going to stop the mechanism that we have that keeps pushing us to do more and never feel like enough and never feel like we're feeling better. So what's the answer? Now that we're really understanding how the mind is working, or starting to get into that, what is really the answer? So, the main thing, like the only thing, like there's only really one thing that you need to do. Make a note here so I remember this one. And that is, feel your feelings. Not trying to change them, not trying to understand them, not judging them as good, bad, positive or negative, comfortable or uncomfortable. Just get more comfortable being uncomfortable. Like, say you were using that example of like feeling bad about something you're not doing in your business, or feeling bad about not having worked on a certain area of yourself, or having eaten something or done something or made a mistake, then when the feeling comes out and it's there, just don't try to change it. Think of yourself as like a column, where feelings just are flowing through you, and it would be kind of like, oh, so this is what shame feels like, or this is what grief feels like. Say, we could even do this with like missing people, missing being around people. Say you just took a moment and really let yourself feel like what it feels to miss these people and to miss the interactions that we always had just as a natural part of our lives. What if when you were trying to sleep and these thoughts came up and these feelings came up? Or maybe it's just thoughts and you can't even connect to the feeling, because when thinking is really active, you can't even connect to what is the feeling. Honestly, let's be honest. But this is also why the thinking is so active. The thinking is so active because there's unprocessed, unresolved material emotionally. So let's say you're trying to sleep and you just don't feel better. And then maybe it even starts to worry about if you're tired tomorrow and how if you don't get enough sleep, or maybe if you don't get enough sleep, then your immune system's going to be compromised and you're going to get corona, or then you'll really be screwed, and then you won't be able to get anything done. And then, no one else around is really even helping. Or like I saw on Instagram that this person got this financial support, or has this help, or like has these people helping them, or has this opportunity with their business to do this and da 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 da, right? So when that happens, let's say even feelings of grief, feelings of sadness, of depression, helplessness, these are all feelings that I've felt and been feeling as they come up, because wow, like this is an intense time. This is an intense time. And it's being asked of us to really come to ourselves, come home, come back to ourselves, tune into what really matters and to what we really want to be spending our time and our energy on, not out of fear, not out of fear of losing something or someone or of not doing enough or of not surviving. I know that this is easier to say than to do, but this is why I'm telling you all that you have to do that is to just feel it. Don't judge it. Don't think there's something wrong with you. Don't wish it was different. And even if you're thinking all those things, even if you're feeling the feeling and you're judging it and you're like, oh my God, I'm screwed. And you're judging it and you're comparing and even if you're doing all of those things in your mind, it's okay. Because you're not going to just clear your mind and feel your feelings. You're going to let it all just be a big messy mess. There's a grieving process to this. There's a need for us to let go of what was, and even if it felt like it was working, and grieve it. We're not built emotionally to just jump into the future and be in it and 100% like, oh, this is great. I totally adapted. Because even people that are adapting, as it's still has a bunch of feelings. And some people are really good at pushing through and getting work done amidst the strong feelings. But I honestly wouldn't advise that, because what that's going to happen is what that's going to create is it's going to just keep creating a cycle of where you don't really listen to the wisdom of your feelings and let it guide you, which will allow you to relax, feel more safe, and also create more abundance. Honestly, it'll create something out of nothing, because it will be more tuned in, tapped into who you really are, what you're really feeling, and what you really want to spend your time and energy on moving forward. So I wouldn't honestly advise to become better at pushing your feelings down and going. The odd time, if I had a feeling that was coming up, say right before I came on here, I would tell the feeling, okay, yo, look, girl, I feel you, like I'm there, but we're going to put that on pause, where I'm going to show up and speak to these women, and then we'll create some space later for it. So, and that's an option, but I also am not fully advising that, because sometimes when we're around other people or things need to be done, or we think things need to be done, we keep pushing those feelings aside. But what happens is that they're still there. And then when they really keep getting pushed aside, they build up, they really build up. I'm just looking at the time, because there's a couple more things I want to share with you. And I know it's okay if I go a little over, but I'm going to try to wrap this up in about 10-ish, we'll say 10-ish minutes. Feel free to, because I have this really nice piece, which is the last piece of moving from fear to love. Because this is really what we're speaking to, is that the self-love isn't, the deep, let's say the deep emotional, psychological, spiritual self-love has nothing to do with routine or actions or things that you do. Okay? This is really about living fully. Being in the moment is more important than ever right now, because there isn't even a future that we can really plan. And I personally believe that if we want to take a positive perspective on COVID-19, it's this. It's taking this time to, practice being more in the moment. And it's the perfect time, because we can't even plan. We can't plan a trip. I mean, we could plan in the future, but kind of planning, and even planning to go do or even connect with other people, we can do this online. But as I noticed in the comments too, we were talking about how it's just not the same. It's really an opportunity, to take this time and let yourself grieve stuff you need to grieve. Let yourself feel things, because here's an example that I'll give. Okay. So it might seem like when you eat the food, the feelings about that, or when you feel anxious about the future, the feelings about that, or like any anxious or fearful or bad feeling right now is because of Corona. Okay. It might seem like that. But the thing is, again, people, Corona, whatever it is, all of these things are external circumstances that are causing us to feel things. But what's really happening is when that feeling gets triggered or when that feeling comes up, there is a deeper wisdom about it for you. So let me think of an example that I had happen to me in this work. Because this is a new work that I've been doing over the last year and been training in and working with other people in, and really doing the work on myself. And it has completely changed the way that I look at things, the way that I work, and the way that I approach my business and my relationships. And so I was going through some feelings of fear, of really feeling, when I really let myself feel it. I thought it was about worrying if my business would survive. And this was actually pre-corona. So I was already feeling this. And I kept feeling it, and I could feel how it was motivating me to try more, push harder, work harder. And so I decided last year, January, to just not work like that anymore. Even if I fell into the pattern of working from pressure and fear, I'd stop and be like, okay, right, I'm not doing this anymore. This is like, I don't need to do this. But then when I had to really feel the feelings of what that's like, oh, that feeling of like, what if I lose everything? What if it all falls apart? What if I have no money? What if I can't pay my bills? These kind of things that are real things. It's just that our mind connects the bad feeling to thinking that if I don't do enough, it could happen. Okay. So as I was feeling through this feeling, what happened was, it took a bit, honestly, you guys. This one, sometimes you can just feel the feeling, and then it shifts, and you're good. This one took me a couple days at least. I mean, I'd been feeling this feeling since January, since I decided to not work from this space anymore. So every time it came up, I would be aware. But then it took me some time to really just feel into it. And what happened when I felt into it was that, well, basically, it took me all the way back to childhood, where I realized that I'd felt a certain way about my dad not being present in certain ways. And then I got all into that feeling, and then I felt that feeling. And then through that feeling came a feeling that I'd never felt before. And it was crazy, because it went from the fear and the anxiety to stuff about my relationship with my dad that gave me a perspective about love or relationships, uh, based on a past perception. Then delving more into the feeling and just letting myself feel that, I saw, wow, this little girl, that experienced these different things that were hard, and that she had to really learn for herself and give for herself. And then what happened was, I felt proud of myself. But this wasn't like me convincing myself, oh, you did good, you're successful, you built a great brand, and you've helped thousands of people. It wasn't like that. It was like, oh man, like I really did get far. I really did accomplish something, because before that I knew it, or people would say to me, even people in my life would say to me, like, you don't see how great you've done. You don't see how much you've accomplished. And I wasn't really, I honestly didn't want to convince myself or be convinced, because that doesn't work. So it was crazy. In the moment, I felt it and I saw it. And not only that, I like had compassion for myself. And I understood, like, babe, oh my God, you came so far. You did so much on your own, and you worked so hard to get here, and you let go of so much bullshit. And like you helped so many people with what you were learning. And I saw it for myself. And I think, wow, this was what my anxiety and my fear had to teach me. Yeah. So that's what I have for you guys. When we're done, is I have an audio. I'll share it all. I'll share it all in a moment. But that could take you through this process, because the thing is that it's not easy to just start feeling into these feelings and then into the different layers. And like I said, you could be like, okay, Heather, I felt my feelings today and I woke up and I still feel the same, because it's not just such a simple practice of, okay, I felt my feelings. It's a continued practice of being like, where are my feelings guiding me? What is, I'm going to put this in the chat, what is the wisdom in my uncomfortable feelings, and how can it help to guide me? Yeah. So I have a little bit of a what is it, like, just some words that we could that I'll that I could help, that could help um create more faith and help you in that moving from fear to love. Because what we're really doing here is we're coming out of the mechanism of the mind and the thinking into the experience of love and feeling. Love being, the general energy of life that we can all tap into, and that we're continuously connected to, and that is connected to our innate wisdom in our bodies, minds, hearts, and souls. It has the opportunity to keep guiding us. And this doesn't mean it's like light and all positive. It just means that it's an ever flowing and unconditional force that's helping us to be able to create a future of safety and security from within. And so, and with this, so I'll guide you through this, just a few words to kind of settle this more into your deeper subconscious. And then this is also what's part of the audio that I made, and got ready for you guys today. An audio, a hypnosis audio, to take you into a relaxed state and bring you back to the light in times of difficult emotions and overwhelming thoughts. This could definitely be used to help fall asleep too. So if you'd like to take a moment here to just close your eyes and take another couple of nice deep breaths, or however feels nice for you. And right from the beginning, ladies, let's breathe in love. And breathe out fear. In love. And out fear. And as you just rest there for a moment, maybe you could already feel your system starting to settle. Shoulders relax, You can keep your eyes closed if you like it. And come to a place of faith, into love and faith now. These are some words of Marianne Williamson from A Return to Love. And to trust, to think about faith, trust, and love. And let these words permeate into the depths of your being in whatever way resonates. That will always be only for your highest good. To trust in the force that moves the universe is faith. Faith is believing that the universe is on our side and the universe knows what it is doing. Faith is a psychological awareness of an unfolding force for good, constantly at work in all dimensions. Our attempts to direct this focus only interferes with it. Our willingness to relax into it allows it to work on our behalf. Without faith, we're frantically trying to control what is not our business to control and fix what is not in our power to fix. What we are trying to control is much better off without us. And what we're trying to fix cannot be fixed by us in any way. Without faith, we're wasting our time, money, and energy. Time and energy and money that could be used to make the most of our time and live better. Time and energy that you could be using to self-care, love, learn, and grow. That could be used to heal, to create, to enjoy. The laws of the universe do not require you to have faith. Faith is just what we use to understand them. Like gravity, even if you don't believe in it, you won't fall off the earth. Such is love. It is there, whether you feel it or believe it. It is always there, taking care of the earth and its people, all for the highest good of mankind, humankind. Always. It's the law. And it is the space that you can continue to cultivate with yourself of coming back to compassion and coming back to the understanding that you are human. You have feelings. And if somebody can't handle your feelings, then, they're still there. If you can't handle them or someone else can't handle them, it's more about learning to let them exist and be part of your experience without causing it to judge you. So if your eyes are closed or you were sipping, it's kind of dipping into that, you can, if you'd like to, open your eyes and come back. Maybe taking a deep breath and just starting to feel like a little bit of space that you started to create for yourself in a little bit of time. And I know it's okay if I go a little bit over, so I'll just close up here though in letting you pop any questions or comments, or if there's something that really where you were like, oh my God, let me know. And as you're doing that, I'm going to talk about the two things that I have here. So, and I know that Carly said that she'll email you guys the links to these things with the webinar replay. And so that could be something that you could, even the webinar on, excuse me, on replay, as a replay, if you're feeling like you're tripping, it's something that you could come back to. And you're very welcome, everyone. I'm super pleased to have you all join me. So basically the two things that I have, the two links that are going to come in the replay email is one, the audio that I'm so excited about because I just created it. It's called From Fear to Love, although I almost called it the Corona, audio. So So this is really created to, it's just 20 minutes to deepen into the relaxation of the body and the mind while your brain slows down and your nervous system releases tension. So it's just my voice guiding you on this journey. But actually, what I've done in this audio, which I've never done before, is I made it more like a session where it's going to take you through a process of um, feeling your feelings. And this idea of, if we think that going beyond the wall is more darkness, then we're hesitant to go. Whereas if we understand that going beyond the wall is infinite light, then it's a whole different process. So the audio guides you through that. And it takes you through the process so you can get more used to feeling these feelings, but then it keeps reminding you why you're doing it and the outcome. And then I do have that piece about faith in the audio too. It's my pleasure, ladies. Thank you so much for joining and participating. Um, and let's see. Oh, this is really great. Yeah, I love the reminder to have faith in the universe too, because again, we are part of it, and we can listen and we can tune in, and we can be a part without having to be so motivated and on the go. So then the other resource, well, it's not a resource actually, a link that will come out in the webinar replay is about the hypnotherapy certification training class that I offer. So I've been doing this class in person since 2014. That's how I've trained over 60 people, and so now it's moved online, like so many things, which I found is there's a lot of advantages. I don't know about you guys, that once we don't have the in-person element, we do also gain in advantages of being online. For me, the biggest is like with this, where we can record everything and have a replay to come back to. And this is a massive change, for my students, where they now have the opportunity to come back and to review things that we did in class, and then especially as a result of once you learn the work and you start practicing working with people, helping them process their trauma or create new mindsets, or if this is something that interests you, it's an 8-day training. The deadline is actually to register is actually tomorrow night, so that's why I thought I would pop it in there for you. So even in the chat here, I'll pop, that's the link to the audio, and then this is the link to the training. Oh, there's one more thing I want to tell you guys about too tonight. But just to finish up with the training, this is what I realized, that this type of work is needed more than ever. It's like even the industry itself, even with COVID, is said to increase. Like the self-improvement industry is said to increase $13.2 billion by 2022. And so not only is it so needed, which I personally believe is linked, like when we're doing work and when we're helping, when we're working, offering what the world needs, and this is not just in self-improvement, this is in any business, then it creates abundance. This is what's needed. And especially at this time when we are needing a deeper understanding of how to work with emotion and thinking, and how to create change from resolving and releasing past trauma, past experiences, and just ways that we have created perceptions of life and emotions and relationships and money that are so outdated and are so unhelpful at this time. So that's basically, you learning to use hypnosis as the way to access the subconscious mind, to make all these changes that we're talking about today faster, to make the feeling go away, to do a session and get the insight about where the feeling came from, and in the childhood with my dad, and then into the good feeling. And the cool thing is like now that it's online, it's like anyone can access it, and we save on so many expenses of travel. And then everybody that does take the training will be fully versed in online practice, doing sessions online, practicing online. And even if you're already working with clients, having an understanding of what they're actually going through. And so how to talk them through that, or how to understand how to use language, or how to use the understanding of the mind to help them see the benefit in what you have to offer. And then the last thing that I'll say about that, if that's something that you are very interested in, on the landing page, it's in USD, and there's like a 3-month payment plan that also can be a 5-month with an addition to the online group mentoring. But if you're actually really interested, just shoot me an email, because I put out today a Canadian priced longer term payment plan. And if that's something that's interested, or even if you're just interested, just email me. That's my email in the chat, and we can set up a time to chat and a time to talk. Okay. And then the last thing that I'll say is that if you like this, I'm going to be doing live sessions on my Hypnoheather Facebook page starting tonight. So every Wednesday night, I have decided just to do free live sessions on the Hypnoheather Facebook page, which I'm really excited about. So that's tonight. That's not going to be in the email of resources, I don't think. So I'll pop it there. It's easy. Hypnoheather Facebook. And I'm going to be doing every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Live sessions. So if there is something that really resonated with you today, or that you feel like you'd like me to focus on in these live sessions, I'm starting to create the content, the weekly content. And I really love creating content for what people in my community, especially female entrepreneurs, are needing. So feel free to message me, chat me, email me, whatever, of something that you would like to see me address in the live session. So you could potentially get this today and then come back later at 8 p.m. and join me, as I'll just do a live session for the world. So that's me. I want to take this opportunity to just thank you before I pass it back to Carly, to just offer my sincere thanks for showing up today, for yourselves, for me, sharing this space together. And I think that it's really, really, really important for us to, even when we do feel alone or isolated or unwell, to remember that we're all going through it. What do they say? We're all in this together. But I would like to even bring it more into us as the female entrepreneurs, and let's just continue to really support each other when we can, share each other's stuff, and make it easier for us to get the work that we're meant to be doing out to people. Anyone can add me on Facebook. You can follow me, Hypnoheather, or add me as Heather Rodriguez, and then I can see what you're doing. And then, oh, this is funny. I guess I have a lot happening, because I just thought of another link to share with you guys. Because if you already are a conscious practitioner and you're working with people in a holistic way, then also you can join my Conscious Practitioners group on Facebook. So that's it. This is all the resources. And thank you. Thank you very much. I'll pass it to you, Carly.
Thank you so much, Heather, for taking the time to share with us today. I also want to say thank you to everyone that was able to join us for today's webinar. You'll be able to view this webinar on demand on our website by the end of the day, and I will be sending out all the links that Heather mentioned to everyone who attended today. Our next webinar is next Wednesday, and it'll be Navigating Uncertain Times with Calm and Control, presented by Shelia Unique. The registration is now open on our website. I will mention as well that for the month of April, WESC is offering free annual memberships to help small businesses through COVID-19, and you can sign up for these on our website as well. Thank you, everyone, and have a great afternoon.